So the same way, we can continue creating the join step between this pair, and in this case it's going to be this one, and that will produce I'm not going to write everything again, but you already understand that I1 and I3 joined with I1 and I5 is going to produce I1, I3 and I5, right? And now, seeing this pair in particular, sorry, I'm going to use green color better. So this in particular cannot be joined with any pair down there, right? Because in the second line you don't have any pair with a I1 and an item that is greater than I5. So now this pair can be joined with this one and with this one, right? So we will create from there I2, I3 and I4, and I2, I3 and I5. Okay, and this one can be joined with this one, and they will produce I2, I4 and I5, and that's it, right? Because the last pair cannot be joined with any other pair. So now we are ready to write down C3, which will contain these items, right? In this case, we don't have to validate their frequency because the candidates are all of them that come out of the join step. So let's write C3. Okay, so now again we need to calculate the frequency or count the amount of times so each of these item sets are in our transactions. But before going and naively count the frequency, we must check for each of these item sets which ones contain any subset that was previously discarded, right? So for example, we can see that the item set I1, I3 and I5, this one, already cannot be frequent because it contains the item set, let's say I3 and I5, right? And I3 and I5 was previously discarded before. Here, right? So again, following the same idea, we also can discard I2, I3 and I4 because the I3 and I4 was discarded and is contained in this item set. The same way, I2, I3 and I5 can be discarded because I3 and I5 was discarded, right? And also I2, I4 and I5 can be discarded because it contains in this case contains I4 and I5 that was previously discarded. So then for these item sets we don't have to go and count their frequency, so we save a lot of time, right? And now we need to count the frequency of the first two item sets, and in this case we can see that each of them exist twice in the transactions database. So that's their frequency, and they both are satisfying the minimum threshold. So in this case, L3, which is the set of frequent item sets of size 3, is going to be I1, I2, and I3, and I1, I2, and I5. Okay? So now we need to build C4, which is the set of candidates of size 4. Again, by doing the join step from L3. And in this case, it's very easy, right? Because we can see that we just can join the first item set with the second one, and it actually satisfied the rule, the join condition, because besides the last one, all the items are the same, and in the last one, I5 is greater than I3 in the order, right? So they can be joined, and then now this will produce the item set of size 4 with I1, I2, I3, and I5. So this is going to be C4. Okay, and in order to build L4, we basically need to first validate the frequency of this item set. But we can see that this one cannot be frequent because it contains the item set, the subset I2, I3, and I5 here, which was previously discarded in C3, right? So this one cannot be frequent, so we don't have to go and count the amount of transactions that contain it. So we save time, and then L4 is going to be empty, and the algorithm finishes. Thank you for following the video until here. I know it's kind of tough to follow all these steps, but I believe it's the only way to really understand how this algorithm works. And in the next video, we're going to see actually how to implement this in Python code. Thank you.